Welcome to Japanatron. 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 Japanatron.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Japanatron. I'm your host, Dave Pavlina. Japanatron is a podcast about Japan. And, life in Japan, Japanese culture. And today, we have a very, very special episode, special edition. From LA, live from Los Angeles, my hometown, and my best friends in the entire universe are here with me recording this. I love it. Let me introduce my pals. Number one, my best friend in the universe, Carlos Jaime.
Hey, how's it going, Japanese people? They only listen to this?
We love you.
Or is it just like a lot? Okay, whoever. Hey, everybody, how's the world doing?
They're not going to answer you.
I want an answer. I still want an answer, though.
And we got Michael Costantini.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? You want to do that again?
And my third best friend in the entire universe, Joe Donatelli.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. 3. I'm in the top 3.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say yeah.
I'll take it.
There's only 4 of us.
How many best friends can you have? Is it only one?
I think you could have about 5.
True.
Is it like the Highlander that can only be one?
No. You could have 5.
So I just have like a real rough kind of, not really much plan for today. Because these guys don't shut the fuck up ever.
Hey, Dave, I want to say welcome back.
Thank you.
To your homeland.
Yeah, welcome back to the country where you were born.
Yeah.
Where you became who you are.
Exactly.
My motherland. It is great to be back.
You're an expatriate.
Yeah, I can feel breathing the air here. I'm already getting fatter.
Really?
Yeah. The air has fat. Air has fat in it.
I would say, is it because of non-cigarettes?
Hey, that's actually something I really did take for granted living here.
Yeah.
Is the cigarette thing.
Yeah.
Because they smoke all the time in Japan.
Yeah. But a lot of people got offended by that episode I did, that little rant.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
I
was offended.
A few people got offended by that.
Do you miss how you can't do karaoke in a drugstore now that you're in America?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Because there's just karaoke everywhere in Japan.
Well, it's actually pronounced karaoke.
Karaoke.
Karaoke. It was invented in Japan.
Right.
Yes. It means empty orchestra.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
It means no orchestra.
Wow.
That's what it literally stands for.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Are you saddened when you go to a Subway here and not that it's filled to the brim? that you can barely
looks like someone read my blog. Thank you.
I'm just saying.
My one reader right here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike and Joe.
I am number one.
For not reading.
You have a blog?
I've read your blog.
I have too. It's good.
Yeah.
It is.
My favorite is on your on all the spam filters that you put on your email. Yeah.
My spam filters will destroy your computer.
They destroyed a couple of my emails.
Oh, boy.
So, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I just have kind of a rough thing. Like I said, my friends never shut up. They're like me. So, we're just going to kind of stick with the theme of, things in Japan and things in America. People are a little bigger in the red, white, and blue.
Don't you miss In-N-Out?
Okay. In-N-Out, I've already hit.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I'll give you that. In-N-Out.
They don't have Kobe?
Holy shit.
Do they have Kobe in Japan?
But I will say one thing about In-N-Out. Too much of a good thing is not good. And like I said, people are a little bigger here.
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to the room.
Why are you
I'm staring at Mike.
Why are you looking at Carlos's gut when you say that?
Yeah, what an
Pretty much
ass.
my same weight ever since you've known me.
I know. I'm just saying.
Sorry, I don't eat
I'm just
rice
saying,
every day.
I like to hear your opinions on this. One noticeable difference I've noticed is that if I did live in the U.S., I would have to put a very concerted effort into staying thin and not getting overweight. Mm-hmm. And in California, I'd say it's a little bit better because you have Hollywood, you have that kind of image you have to maintain, the Baywatch, the David Hasselhoff. Everyone wants to look like David Hasselhoff, all cool and sexy.
Listen to Dave catering to his Japanese audience.
No, that would be German.
Oh, German.
That would be German.
What is it, World War II, man?
But
Dave,
in the U.S., you have to put in an
effort. You've been
effort.
your same weight since you've been in high school.
Yeah, you were never going to get fat no matter where you live.
Yeah.
I've spent the last 10 years in Japan.
But don't act like going there kept you skinny.
All through high school,
Yeah.
I knew you. In college, I knew you. You were the same skinny guy.
That's true.
But you were not overweight.
But
Yeah, you don't have to suffer
I know,
like
but
me.
Do you think
Then
there's
you went to Japan.
Do you think there's an
and of course
alternate?
you're not overweight now.
Do you think there's an alternate universe where there's a fat Dave living in L.A.?
Thank you, Joe. That is exactly what I was trying to say. Dave, you're skinny. Maybe that's cause and effect. Maybe because I live in Japan the last 10 years.
I will say though, when Mike and I visited you in Japan, we ate like pigs for an entire week.
But that was vacation.
Okay.
I'm eating like a pig here.
Yeah.
And my
that's
mom's
true.
like, "Damn, you're eating like a pig."
Yeah.
We, like in and out.
We did eat like pigs, but we ate like sashimi.
Yeah, we
and,
ate,
like,
but we had beer at 11 in the morning,
Yeah.
and sushi and sashimi and gyoza and tempura rolls and all kinds of stuff.
and I gotta say that was my favorite part, like walking through the town with like just full on beers.
I love my
and,
favorite.
like, just chugging them.
They had beers that you opened with like a can opener. It was like a can, like the old high C cans, and you would just like open it with a can opener and just pour it out like it's motor oil. It was
Well, speaking of beer, what sucks is, do you remember what we paid for those beers?
they were expensive.
Hell yeah.
Do you remember you bought me a bottle of Captain Morgan that week? It was
Oh
like
my
a
God.
750 milliliter bottle, and I think you paid like $40 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, that was like, I had trouble making the rent that
It's
month.
a $12 bottle of booze.
Now the liquor was
Wow.
expensive, but the food was not. We were. You should tell the audience we were in Tottori when we visited you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to live in
You
in
should tell the
countryside
audience
town.
that, Mike.
Why don't you tell the audience?
Yeah.
I think, Mike, you just told the audience that.
Well, I'm just saying because that's kind of your origins of in Japan.
My origins.
Your origin story, Dave.
No, actually, Mike, you said a good thing because
Yeah.
I consider Tottori kind of like my hometown in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It's where I met my wife.
You know,
It's almost like where I kind of grew up.
That's where Joe and I visited you.
Yeah.
You know, too
Yeah.
bad the villagers in Tottori don't see you as a as a guy from their hometown.
They don't see me as a local, no.
No, I don't think they did. Do they?
No.
You never got,
I love Tottori though. I mean, I don't know about you, Joe, but
That was-
I had a fantastic time there.
It was great. It was
Yeah.
a great little town. It was a sleepy little town. And when people ask me where that was, I always quote you, Dave, and I say it's basically the Alabama of Japan.
Yeah, it really was.
Which is funny. You know, every country has an Alabama.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's weird to think, and that's where
Is there like
Dave lived.
abandoned buses right there? near
Yeah,
the
there was
highway?
like their version of the KKK was there. Yeah.
Was there a lot of like people of African descent being criticized
No.
or being harmed?
No, nothing
Okay.
like that.
There weren't any burning crosses, though.
No.
Yeah, nothing
No.
like that. There was a giant sand dune that people ran down.
Yes, and that is what Tottori is famous for,
Yeah.
a giant sand dune.
Sand dune.
It was like
Yeah.
it was like 70, I don't know, 100 feet up, and you could like run down it in 3 steps, and you felt like you were flying.
we
Really?
climbed up it.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah, we
that?
did it a couple times.
Damn near killed me too. I have really bad.
Wait,
Yeah, you can't breathe.
breathing problems. But yeah, I got up there. I was like Mount Everest. But then remember, Joe, you and I, we both ran down.
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah.
did. That was the whole point of the
I tripped.
sand dune.
I tripped and fell. Yeah.
So wait, so
it was fun.
Are you
Yeah,
sure?
let's,
Are you done?
I'm not trying to. We're not trying to alienate Carlos here because he's never actually been.
No,
to
I
Tottori.
know.
No, I know, Carlos.
So-
He was actually supposed to go on that trip with us. Actually, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
I couldn't wait. What was? I think it was either.
Legally, you couldn't leave the country.
Probably
That's what
yeah.
happened.
No, either I couldn't afford it, or I just didn't have enough vacation at that time to do it. I think
Yeah.
that might have been the case.
Oh.
'Cause I don't know how long ago it was for you guys, or how long ago
It was 2005, and we went for 10 days.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what.
that's right.
No, that's what it was. I got a new job and I didn't have enough vacation time. to
Ah,
go on
yeah,
it. That's what
built
it
up,
was.
yes.
Joe and I also planned this trip on a drunken night too. Like we just said we're going to go to Japan, and
We did.
we did.
Yeah, that's back when.
You know, Mike, most of your decisions in life are made on drunken nights.
Sure. I understand.
Yep.
The thing is, living in Japan, I get a lot of, why did you decide to move to Japan? That's probably the number one question I get.
I know.
And what I like to tell people is like, well, if you come and visit me, I can't tell this to everybody, obviously. And I'm sorry, Los, you haven't been able to visit me yet. But if you come and visit me, most people understand. And Mike and Joe, you have visited me. Did you, during your visit, your 10 days there, did you understand like, oh, this is, I can see why someone would want to live
I
there.
understand why you moved there. Because you are kind of anal, and you like order,
Yeah.
and you like everything to be a certain way, and that just described Japan.
Also, the girls are hot.
And the girls are hot.
That was another reason.
Exactly. I was not going to lead with that, but yeah, that's the other reason. Yeah.
Really?
Well, you're tactful. You have something called tact.
Yeah.
Something that Carlos does not have.
Yeah. But would that appeal to Dave? Dave, who's like got to have everything just... I mean, he lived with Mike. Mike is the messy roommate. Dave was the neat roommate.
Right.
Yeah, I lost that battle.
America is the messy country. Japan is the neat country.
So what
Yeah.
you're saying is I drove Dave from this country.
No, I'm saying you're America. You're why the terrorists
So I drove
hate us.
Dave away
You
from
drove me out. I'm like, I can't take this anymore. I
Yeah.
cannot take this anymore.
Exactly.
See,
I will say we had the best tacos I've ever had.
Yeah, that
in
was
Tottori.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
Poncho.
Yeah.
Poncho.
Yeah, man,
he was a big fat big fat
Not Italian.
Sorry.
He's just completing it.
big fat
That's how I-
Italian-looking guy.
Yeah.
The way that slipped out was awesome.
Because that's how I picture him. He's a big fat Japanese guy.
Yes.
He was
Yeah.
very nice to us.
Wait, there's
and,
no fat
He made us
Japanese
the
guy.
best, the best Mexican tacos I've ever had. Like we
Well-
had to go all the way to Japan to have the best Mexican tacos.
To me, it was funny
Yeah.
because he was the most Mexican-looking Japanese dude I've ever
He
seen.
really was.
And
but he was in a
made
Hawaiian
kick-ass-
shirt.
What does that mean?
And his name was Poncho.
Yeah.
So I think even you guys asked me, is he Japanese?
He was definitely Japanese. I mean, but yeah, I just never, I never. What was it? Was the After Hours Club, right?
Yeah, After Hours.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
the place that we played?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Where
a show
where
there.
Joe and you and I, Dave, you and I, we played.
My
Yeah.
only international gig.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was my only international gig, old boy too.
Yeah.
No, Dave, I have a couple questions
Please.
regarding Japan because I've been abroad, but I've never been to. See, the only time I've been abroad is to a country that where my parents are from, so that I already know about in a way, like
Argentina.
Argentina, which I've grown, like I know the culture and the language and everything. But to me, going to Japan, I mean, of course, it would be like another world, but to me, it would almost be comical. And that would just be like almost like looking at everybody going like, wow, that's so tiny people, or just being like, or just looking at the way people walking. And I'm like, wow, like this is so like, it's almost like ants walking or something. And so many people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: like life in LA is all about the car.
Right.
Here, you guys have car culture.
Right.
You don't really think about it too much because you're just so used to it. You're so accustomed to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of life in LA that is it's all about the car. You have to you have to plan your life around traffic. You got those rules like you got to give people the hand to say thank you. And there's the douchebag that cuts you off. A lot of your life is affected by traffic. That's LA life. Life in Tokyo specifically. I mean, we got 13.5 million squeezed into a tiny little space.
Right. I'm shocked that 13.5 million live in the island, like the whole country or something. Like it looks so tiny compared to other like.
Yeah, we got about 150 million.
Oh, that's crazy.
Which is about roughly half the population of the United States.
Yeah.
Crammed into an area smaller than California.
Wow, that's crazy.
So you take half the population of the United States and you have them all move to California.
Are they in the water? What's going on there?
Water. It's an island.
Why are you a Time magazine article all of a sudden?
I feel that they're half of the land and half on water. That's why
I will say, Carlos, you brought up the small people, and I will say we went to a national park in Japan, and I remember turning over a leaf that was on the ground, and a family of four ran from underneath
really?
it. Yeah, it was
Were
cute.
they cute? I
It
heard
was
they-
adorable.
Oh.
Yeah, and they bowed and they ran away. It was cute. Yeah.
There's a lot of Godzilla. Right?
Yeah.
In Tokyo, you have to think and plan your life around the pedestrian traffic.
Sure.
It sounds so weird to someone from LA, of course.
I would love it though.
By that, do you mean large groups of people moving on the sidewalk? What do you mean by pedestrian traffic?
Well, you gotta walk.
There's no
through,
cars. They're in the street, just moving.
They're in the
on
water. See, I'm telling you, they're in
there's
water.
rules. There's rules to me. You gotta
See, he
walk
loves rules.
through.
He loves rules.
You got to walk through massive train stations where just millions of people, literally, the busiest train station in the world is in Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Right. And you have to think about this. There's rules. There's do's and don'ts. Okay? Before the ticket gate, the turnstile, you don't fucking stop there. Like, we just want to shoot you. Fortunately, there's no guns there.
Right.
Another notable difference. But
I got a question
we
about
just want
that,
to kill
too.
you there.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever do that. And then also on an escalator, if you're standing, you stand on the left.
Right.
And if you're walking up, you walk up on the right.
Right.
That's the rule. And actually, it's reversed in Osaka, interestingly. So we always know, like, people, you're visiting from Osaka because you're doing the opposite. But there's all these kind of rules, and they always sound kind of silly to visitors. And we're always like, tourists are like blocking the whole elevator, the escalator rather. And, you know, the Japanese people are getting like kind of annoyed. You know, they don't say anything.
They can't.
About it.
No. Which is
the Americans are the loud, obnoxious ones, right?
Dave, can I tell the really quick cab
Please.
story? When we were in a cab, the first, like, we had just gotten to Japan, and we were in a cab with it was me and Mike, and I think you were with us, and this like semi truck or whatever passes for a semi truck in Japan, like almost ran us off the road, and the cab driver, you could tell, like in America, the guy would have like pulled out a revolver and shot at the the truck, or he would have fired up double birds at the guy. Our cab driver like looked over for 1 second and went meep meep. Like and like that was road rage.
Wow.
Like that was road rage.
Could I also say the funny thing? In Japanese, when you say hi, it means yes.
It means yes.
Okay, so when Joe and I got into that cab, the cab driver said to us, blah, 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 something, hi. And then we're like, hi. And then he's like, hi.
Yeah.
And we're like, hi, hi, hi. We thought we were saying hi.
Yeah.
And we were actually just saying yes, 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 yes.
Well, hi means yes, but it also means like, yeah, like I heard you.
Yes, I hear
I
that.
just heard,
Mike and I were
So
like,
you're
Mike,
just saying to each other, kind of.
they
too.
are really accommodating to Americans here.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. They're ready for us.
Let me ask you, how much percentage of Japan do you think is OCD like you are?
I don't. I used to think about that, and
'Cause I'm pretty sure
I
there's
know-
a big chunk.
I hate to say it, but that is actually kind of a stereotype. Is that I've met some really sloppy Japanese people.
Really? How so?
Really
How so?
fucking
How so?
messy.
How so?
Yeah.
It's like shit all over the desk, This one dude in my office, his office literally, he's a Japanese lawyer, okay? And this totally breaks the stereotype.
That's a great name for a sitcom.
Okay, Japanese lawyer. Hey, welcome ladies and gentlemen, to Japanese lawyer.
There you go.
And his office, it looks like the aftermath of Superstorm Sandy.
Really? Like a lot of debris?
Yeah. There's just debris everywhere, And it's funny is, I'm like, man, is that guy Japanese? And
Really?
he is, of course, he's Japanese. And it's funny because also, I thought of a thing where he was using it as a technique, because we'll have a lot of visitors in our office, and oftentimes they'll have to share an office. Like share an extra desk or something
Right.
in their office to accommodate the guest. And that guy never has to do that because there's just shit everywhere and
Right.
nobody wants to stay. Nobody wants to tell him to move all the stuff over. You can't even see the extra desk. It's just covered in debris. So,
Is it? Let me see. Let me guess what's on his desk. Can I guess on what's on his desk?
yeah.
Okay. Chopsticks.
Oh my
Is
God.
there chopsticks on?
I think, yeah, probably.
A Hello Kitty tissue box.
Okay, yeah, I see. Is there an Ichiro baseball bat? Yes, I know.
Ichiro baseball.
Wow, you
card.
know Ichiro. Good for you.
All right, just checking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of a stereotype, and it's been broken so many times. Another example is when I was teaching English, I used to think Japanese were always going to be on time or early.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
of
big
course.
mistake
That's
there.
it. They were at Pearl Harbor.
Oh,
Sorry, I
wow.
brought it up.
Yeah, Joe
Sorry,
brought it up.
brought it up.
Everyone was late.
Really? Everybody?
Everyone was late. Yeah.
Everybody.
Even my wife.
Wow.
My student at the time, now my wife was late.
What was
to
she
my own
doing?
class.
What are they doing though?
I don't know. I grabbed him by the,
They're all waiting outside the
grabbed
door to like for the other one to go in. Like you go. No, you
What are you
go.
doing, man?
They're
Yeah,
being very polite.
A lot of high.
Why are you late?
Right.
Why are you late?
They're
Did
being
you ever-
very polite.
Did you ever get anybody in trouble? Or like, did he say, you know what, go to the principal or anything like that when you were teaching? No, I mean whatever it is. I don't know what that is.
Did you ever have to discipline anybody?
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no. Because
Okay.
it was a school that you just go to for fun.
Oh.
Like you pay to
Well,
learning.
there's another difference.
Okay.
The
There's
kids
another
the kids
difference.
pay to
Yeah.
go to extra school.
No,
Yeah.
I wasn't teaching English in the school system. I was just teaching at like
You were teaching people who wanted to learn English so they could be professional.
right.
Right.
Exactly. Thank you, Joe.
How fun.
Very articulate here.
Yeah.
The only one that's articulate.
Can I guess what else was on
I
that
care,
guy's
Dave.
desk?
I care. What else is on his desk?
Yeah,
Let's keep going.
I'm gonna say a miniature version of Godzilla was on there.
And I feel like there's also like just some outrageous porn that we would be disgusted by that
Right.
like is commonplace.
Yeah.
Well, that's another difference I want to bring up.
Please.
Porn in Japan, a lot of people don't know this, is censored.
It's censored.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I've seen Japan.
Oh, we know you have.
That's what I call it. I call it Japun. I call it Japan. That's how much porn I've
Yes,
seen.
the money shot. The money shot is mosaiced out.
Wow.
There's
yeah.
a federal law there.
So the part where she's dressed like a 6-year-old girl is okay, but the money shot is.
That's
done
what I
out.
don't get.
Yeah.
Now, here's the funny thing. Japan, actually, Joe, you said this best. You said this best, and I want to repeat this quote. I hope I do it justice. You said, countries like America, they look all crazy on the surface. But, everything's out in the open. You know what's going on with America. Everything's out on the media. There's no, hidden dark underbelly.
Right.
Which is what you have with countries like Japan.
Yeah.
Japan on the surface looks all put together so well, so polite. Everyone's so polite, so nice. The service is so great. There's nothing wrong with this country. It's utopia, and people seem to forget, that whole World War II thing went a little crazy there. I've heard a comparison that Japan is very similar to Germany. They look very well put together. They're known for engineering genius. Their cars are top notch. And there's lots of rules. There's lines at the bank. McDonald's, there's lines everywhere. Everyone's very OCD. There's traffic rules, very strict. Very well put together on the surface. Very anal. But then there's as Joe, you said, there's this kind of dark, scary underbelly.
Yeah, I think everyone everywhere is essentially the same. And that, which is to say, we're all crazy. You can either act like we are, and acknowledge it, or you can just try to put a fine, shine on it. Like, oh no, we're orderly, but
Hide it.
Yeah, you hide it. Yeah, you hide it, but it comes out eventually. And when you hide it, it comes out in weird ways.
Yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, in porn, for example, we have our, our porn version or whatever, especially in this fucking, part of the LA. But Japanese and German porn are like the craziest fucking shit. I'm just how is this even possible? How is this going crazy?
That's what they've known. That's what they've been known for. And I've been shocked a number of times in Japan, and 90% of the time when I've been shocked in Japan, it's always around porn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is there an example you can give that maybe is less gross and more humorous?
An example.
I could give you one. I could give you one. I saw a porn one time, not to freak anybody out, but I saw it and I just started laughing. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. This guy, okay, imagine if Dave's freaking out, but imagine, okay, we're adults, right? So imagine the guy doing doggy style on this girl, and all of a sudden he is agile enough, and I guess not as heavy for him to go, kind of put his body above her, instead of having his knees on the bed, he actually is on top of her,
his stomach is on her back.
Yeah, on her back, on his back. And he starts doing a helicopter, he starts spinning around.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
it looks like Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing. And I go, what the fuck is it? I rented a porno that looks like a weird.
It's funny. You said it best. That guy's name is actually Helicopter Man.
Yeah. And I thought that was the weirdest thing. And I'm like, this should be on on a TV show, because it just seems so weird.
That guy should be in the Ocean's 11 group.
Yeah, frick that
doing
other
heists.
Yeah, frick that other guy.
Yeah, I hate to come across as a pervert, but I am fascinated by this. I am really fascinated by this. And the most shocking, speaking of the underbelly of Japan, like I said, the most shocking things have always been around porn. And let me run through some really quick things,
right.
Things have shocked me, like what Los just
Helicopter
said.
Man.
Yeah.
Number one, they have
weird.
this. Number one, really quick, they have this complex called the Lolita complex, and I don't even know if this is English. It's Lolita.
It's the
Lolita.
book. Yeah.
Lolita supposedly is little girl,
right.
Okay, dressed in a maid outfit or something. They're this fetish,
or a
this little girl
student or
thing.
something
Okay.
like that, right?
Now, this is what I don't get. It's like a country of contradictions. Okay, they censor the porn, but they've got this underage girl complex.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is going to shock you. There are magazines, porno magazines, that they're not full exposure. They don't show the girls are technically clothed.
Right.
Kind of like the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue.
Right.
Like that. But they're underage.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
And it's not animated or
It's not
cartoonish.
animated.
It's just regular
It's-
pictures.
Whoa.
Girls-
How old?
15,
Whoa. Are you serious?
14.
and
it's for these guys with this fetish.
Wow,
That's kind of a Japanese thing.
that would be imagine if that was magazine was here. I mean,
there'd be an uproar.
Yeah, it would be like the worst thing ever. It would be not
that you're the spokesman for all things Japan, but what do Japanese women think of that? Don't they think that's kind of horrible?
That's a great question. I asked a friend of mine. I have a lot of female coworkers, and they just think it's kind of silly. They think it's weird. I mean, but it's kind of like
it is silly.
I mean,
well, yeah, they're right.
I mean, what are you going to do about it? I mean, like in the U.S., we have tons of hardcore porn, of course. It's not censored. I mean, there's fetishes, like foot fetishes, and there's weird things like that.
Yeah. It's not that weird.
We've got our share of weird stuff, but at the same time, America does have that Puritan kind of upbringing.
Right.
And it does have limits.
Well, we rather see a guy on a movie get his head blown off than see like a pair of breasts.
Yeah,
that's just
that is the weird thing.
It's the way it is.
That's actually in Japan. They say like, oh, America's like at this like violence fetish, and then
big
Americans
time.
say like, oh, Japan's got this weird sick fetish with like little kids, underage, which is really weird how they censor the porn, but. They got this like Lolita young girl fetish. There's some other things I'll run through. Prostitution in the U.S. is, of course, completely pretty much illegal.
Except for
Nevada.
Except for Nevada, places in Nevada, and I think there's one more state.
Is it like in New Jersey?
Is it? Yeah,
or something like that?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I don't think
Nevada.
so.
I heard that Nevada actually,
Idaho.
Just because it has the word hoe in it?
Yeah. It's perfect. It's a perfect way. I would go.
Nevada's kind of the Wild West, though. So.
Well, Nevada, the reason they did that, they made gambling and prostitution legal in Nevada because it's a desert wasteland. Nobody wanted to live
and it
there.
makes money.
Yeah. Now, in Japan, prostitution is technically illegal, but the weird thing is, I was walking around, there's all these like really sketchy looking strip bars and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I had a coworker once, and she was really down on herself because she said her husband had flyers for what's called a health club. I'm like, what's wrong with that? And she's like, you don't know what a health club is? And I'm like, no.
Was she doing parentheses?
Yeah,
like the quotes or whatever, like the quotes thing?
Is it where you go to do like Pilates and,
yoga?
Run on the treadmill?
Right. Yeah.
And she's like, no, Dave, let me educate you on Japanese culture, the underbelly. This is something Americans usually don't know. Like I said, prostitution is technically illegal in Japan, but their definition of prostitution is penis and vagina. Okay? Which would be a home run.
Okay.
Right.
So that's illegal.
Yeah.
But third base is legal. Up to third base.
Okay.
Slow down. I'm writing this.
Okay. You're writing this down. So she was bummed because a health club is a place where a guy can go to go to third base.
Get hand jobs.
But see,
Mike, you're playing a different sport.
Wait, what is
I think he's playing.
Oh my God!
Can you please
No, Mike's playing Little League Baseball.
No, like, what is third base? Is that
oh.
actual penetration or not?
Okay.
No, that's a home run.
Okay. Let's cover the bases.
What is
Mike?
Well,
Mike
right.
needs some education.
Yeah, Dave's gonna explain it to
Joe,
you.
Carlos, do you want to do this? Should I do it?
Let's say a home run would be having sex.
All the
Yeah.
way.
So what is
Going
third
all
base?
the way.
Okay, a double
base.
a double would be
Well, let's go. First base,
would be kissing.
Yes.
heavy
and
petting,
maybe petting over the clothes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second
base, hand.
Okay.
Right.
Third base.
What's between?
Or oral.
Oh, so yeah, you can.
And a foul is anal. Of course. Yeah, Mike. Come on, man.
But so you can go as far as like
in
oral
Japan, they
sex.
get it too because they do baseball there.
I read a blog article once that said it best that Japan has the Clinton definition
Right.
of sex.
Right.
Right.
That's their definition
That
of sex.
involves like
But
a
then we-
cigar.
No, you never know. You never know. There might be magic.
Oh.
I have a question though about your friend. Did you ever tell her? Well, did you confront your husband about it?
Yeah. Okay, we actually had a plan for that.
A plan?
She
An intervention?
basically what happened.
It's a nation of plans.
Basically, what happened was
Sure.
she said she found the flyer like in his jacket pocket. Okay. And she was bummed because she thought maybe he was going to this place. Okay. So I said, here's what you do. I was going to take the flyer, and it was like printed with like an inkjet printer, like an HP or something.
Uh-huh.
And, I'm a computer geek, so I was going to take it and make like something that looked like it and put my phone number Okay.
Oh.
And then
that's
I was
kind
going
of
to tell her,
ingenious.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to answer, but I was going to, if I got a weird
If
call
he
I didn't
called,
recognize,
yep.
I was going
Right.
to tell her if he called. Okay.
Did you do that?
We didn't end up doing it.
Okay.
Okay. Now, actually, years later, and this is the weird thing, and I feel kind of bad about this, is that when she was telling me this story, I just kind of immediately sided with her and thought he was guilty. But in the guy's defense, I will say this. As a guy, and I don't know about Tottori, this was in Tottori, but when I moved to Tokyo, I lived in a kind of sketchy area. Now, the sketchy areas in Tokyo aren't nearly as sketchy as LA.
Right.
Fortunately.
Like
but-
sketchy, you mean there was a cow there? Was it? Or is that what-
well, it's funny is that I got these flyers all the fucking time.
Because
Right.
they just
They were
handed
in
to
my
you?
mailbox.
Oh, they're in your mailbox.
They were handed to me. They were all over the place.
Yeah.
And in the guy's defense, he might have got handed one,
Right.
thinking he was getting a package of tissues, which they give
Right,
out.
yeah.
He might have just stuck it in his pocket or something. So in the guy's defense, I don't think it immediately meant he was going to this place.
What
Right.
do they call actual health clubs in
Yeah.
Japan? Is what I wonder.
A gym.
Does they call it a
The
gym?
gym,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So health club is somewhere that's you can meet a lady,
Like a
and-
health club.
and a gym is somewhere
Yeah.
you'd actually go to work.
It's
out.
essentially the legal version of prostitution.
I found this bizarre when we were there. When you explained to me what host clubs were,
Yeah.
I thought that was strange, and like I had a little trouble wrapping my head around it because basically the idea, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there are bars where you will pay a girl to talk to you.
Exactly.
How's
And
it-
people,
Wow, I wish I was here.
when I was talking, yeah, no.
Carlos needs that.
People do not understand that. Like, why would you pay for that?
It's bizarre.
And a coworker explained it pretty well to me. Again, he's half Japanese, and he said there's something to be said. Like you pay for the physical part in America. You go to a strip club, you get a lap dance, you get a table dance, and you get your kicks from the physical part. Okay, but there's actually something to be said for the kind of flirting, the kind of mental cheating, I guess.
It's fun. It's safe.
It's actually a little more intimate.
and it's more intimate. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
funner. I love flirting with people. No, with
people,
Yeah,
girls, women,
with Joe and Mike.
with Joe and Mike.
Yeah, you're quite a flirt. Let me tell you.
Well, don't get me started.
When Carlos turns it on,
Yeah.
you're getting better. I've
Yeah.
seen you. Yeah.
But I could definitely see. You know what it is? That could happen here if it was like portrayed differently. You know what I mean? Like it's not like because I feel like over there like they're just like, all right, I'll do it. I'm open about it. Over here, it's like you have to do it where it's like. Okay, you have to say like, no, you're not a loser. You're just, you just like that approach. You just like that intimacy, but without the physical. You know what I mean?
I feel like it brings less chance to things because
Uh-huh.
you could go to a bar and spend $100 buying girls drinks,
Right.
Or you could do this host thing and buy one girl those same drinks,
Right.
So I feel like it just basically ups your odds of actually talking to somebody,
Right.
Yeah.
The same. Well, I've also heard that hostess clubs are kind of hidden prostitution rings.
They have to be. You
And
think so?
It's just not out in the open.
Right.
It's very hidden
Yeah.
underbelly type of thing.
Yeah.
And the guy might pay a lot of money, and I'm sure that the hostess club is getting some kind of kickback.
Mm-hmm.
I told a story in my last episode about how I was in a hostess club. I didn't even know. I just thought this bar had amazingly hot bartenders.
right.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, I'm coming here every night.
Yeah.
Because the bartenders are so super hot, and they'll just talk to you. And it was funny because I remember the first time I went to a strip club with Los, of course, and we just turned 21,
Oh yeah. Oh, God.
and we go to the strip club in Vegas,
yeah, it was Vegas.
and it was our first time, I think, for both of us.
For
maybe.
both, yeah.
And the one thing I didn't expect about a strip club, because I had all these expectations, there's like topless girls and stuff. It was
Right.
a topless one because they're serving alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
Another funny thing about America, because you have all those weird rules, Puritan rules,
so
like if there's
annoying.
alcohol, you can't have pubes or something.
Just because one idiot got a little loose.
Yeah, a little crazy, and then it's all blown for everyone else.
Dude.
Well, one thing I didn't expect, though, about the U.S. strip clubs is that the girls will, like, flirt with you.
Yeah.
There's, like, that whole element.
Right.
And I remember like saying to Lois, like, "Wow, it's so easy. They just come up to you." I'm such an idiot.
We're both handsome.
That's
such an idiot.
That's because you have the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Thanks, Mom.
yeah. I had a blonde sitting on my lap the whole night.
Yeah, I know
almost.
that now.
I'm like, that's just not gonna happen normally.
Yeah, I know that now. And it was just funny. It was like, "Wow, it's so easy to meet girls in here."
Yeah. Oh yeah. But there was one girl. It was a fun time. There was a girl that actually gave us a good time. Not like illegally or anything like that. But let's just say she was very
Second base.
Yeah.
Okay.
She went above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Right.
Like she knew what we were about, and she made it that we had a good time. That was basically what it is. You know.
I would like to point out too, what ethnicity was she?
Oh, she was like half Asian, right? Yeah, she was like Asian. Yeah, I'm like, oh, hostess.
Okay. But wait, my point being is that I guess there's something to be said for that flirting thing. Now, when you go to a strip club in the U.S. and the girls go up and talk to you, you know, of course, why. You know, they want you to buy. Thank you, Carlos. Dropping this.
It's the Morning Zoo,
WMMS.
Live from Cleveland. This is Jerry Slam and the Slam Boys in the Morning Zoo.
Woo! So,
that joke's on life support.
Oh,
this is the loudest, most obnoxious
Play the
podcast
slide
I've
whistle.
ever done.
Play the slide whistle.
So, okay. But I guess what I'm saying is that at a U.S. strip club, an American strip club, you know, of course, why they're going up to talk to you. You know, it's for money, and they want you to buy a lap dance or whatever, something physical. But in Japan, you're not blatantly paying for that. You're actually just buying them drinks. You're not directly giving them money for anything physical. You're actually just buying like overpriced champagne and whiskey and whatnot.
right.
You're actually buying drinks, okay, which are just outrageously overpriced.
Right.
And then this girl's just flirting with you, getting you to buy drinks.
Right.
So it's a little bit more hidden.
But then we have a question though. Has it ever happened where the guy, you know, he bought the girl a drink and everything, and she actually was like, "Well, wow, I'm gonna actually do this," you know, like go out crazy? I mean, does that really? Have you heard about that?
I'm sure it has. I mean,
Yeah.
crazier things that happen. A student of mine was like a member. He had like a bottle with his name on it, and he was like a regular there, and the guy was married.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it was like, I guess it's not, you know, I mean, I don't know, is that cheating?
In my house.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm a single guy, and I'm gonna say yes.
I think women would hate that more.
Yeah.
I
Here's
think
the question.
women would actually prefer a guy to just get a
Sleep.
strip club,
Right.
you know, and get a lap dance.
I think-
and that's all it
Yeah.
is.
Here's a question I have. And Dave, you taught at a school, so you were around young people a lot. And by that I mean like people who are, I don't know, how old are your students?
My students range. They were from high school all the way on up to like 60-year-old.
Okay.
You know,
so
like
yeah, so
office
you
workers.
saw a lot of people. So what would dating be like there? Like how is it different? Like to meet somebody and to court somebody, is it a different scene?
One thing that's noticeable is that they don't ever have house parties. And I remember, at least for us, like
That's where you meet people.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, most people meet people through mutual friends.
Right.
Yep.
Now, they have the same kind of thing, but they just do it differently. And I mentioned this on another episode as well, is that they have this thing called the Gokong, where they have like a kind of a singles party, and they have an even number of girls and guys show up to it. You know, like 4 guys and 4 girls.
So if you leave
they'll come to
alone,
this
it's
thing.
because some guy took 2 girls.
Wow. Or yeah, can you imagine? Does that happen? Oh.
Yeah.
Sure, all the time. Guys like Mike walk in.
So there's that.
Exactly.
Coworkers will go out.
Yeah.
You know, they'll fish off the company pier sometimes. You know, it's
Wow.
not. I wouldn't say it's too different. You know, in that respect.
All right.
I remember one thing. It was funny when on one of the first dates my now wife and I went out on, is that we went out to this restaurant and my wife just ordered a ton of food,
And you're like, whoa.
She weighs like 80 pounds. By the
yeah,
way.
and she's like, "Well, you know, you're American, so I thought you had a hearty appetite." So-
I like it.
no.
I like
But-
it.
I don't know. I mean, there's that, and you know, I guess what my general point is that there's this like underbelly that a lot of people don't know about.
I have a thing too, because I remember there was one thing. I don't know. I remember when you told me this, it kind of ticked me off in the sense that I guess we can't do this here. And it was one of those things where you said that there's some clubs in Japan, maybe even especially in Tokyo, where they will not allow foreigners in. Like, or something like, because it's like something where they're run by.
You wish we could do that here?
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know about here, but I'm just saying,
Yes.
like, I want to say here, but I'm just saying, like, that kind of is weird, where I want to say I wish I was here, but I mean, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you go, like, what's in there? It's like curiosity going, like,
Yeah.
why are they blocking us? And, you know, or something, like,
you
why
think
am I
this
the
is
bad
like-
person?
Well, because you if you saw that in America, that's like pre-civil rights era
Yeah.
stuff.
You can't do that.
You know, like
well, I mean, it used
white-
to happen, but
white
I mean,
only.
right? But the thing is, here, it wouldn't even. If someone said that, like I for me would be like, well, who cares? I don't even want to go in there, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, you know, Japan is America. The U.S. is an immigrant nation.
Right.
Japan is definitely not.
Right.
Okay. It's Japanese. Most
But
people look Japanese. You know, and blah blah blah. We don't have that kind of diversity. They don't have that ethnic diversity
Right.
the U.S. has anywhere near that. I remember when my student was taking me to a hostess club. It doesn't say hostess club, by the way. It says snack. And I was always like, what does that mean? And you know, that's
Oh, you know what that means, Dave. Come
That's
on,
what's
you
so-
know what that means.
I'm going to the health club, then I'm going to get a snack.
I hate to say
Yeah.
it, but this fascinated me. You know, it's like, you know, it says like topless bar, you know, and there's like boobies and neon in the U.S.
Right.
Oh, so
You
the
know,
hostess bars are
there's,
topless?
There's really no question about it.
Really?
No. In the U.S., it's so easy to understand what that is.
Oh, gotcha. It's more
But
out in the open.
Yeah.
In Japan, it's like health. It's like health club,
Right.
You know, and like I would have just wandered in there, you know, with my gym shorts
Yeah,
on.
with your racquetball racket.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it.
Let's do it. And then there was the hostess clubs would be like snack, you know, and some of them are like that. There's different. I don't even know myself. I've lived there so long. I still don't even know. There's hostess clubs, and then there's snacks actually, which is kind of like a subdivision of hostess clubs. They have like
Do they have snacks?
They
Is
have
that
karaoke. Karaoke in front of everyone.
It's karaoke
and they
here.
sing like old traditional Japanese songs. It's a place where like old men go to hang out with younger girls, and they're all like, it's like the same hostess club
Right.
setup, but it's called a snack. And I was always like, what the hell is a snack? That's all it says.
So everything that is good in Japan, the name of it is actually for a horrible, not immoral, but it's just like an underbelly thing.
it's just, I mean, America has some of that. It's like escort. Like,
Yeah.
what is that? You know, someone
Like,
from
you
another
wouldn't-
country might be like, what is that? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, but you know, like
You need to
escort.
explain.
But it's funny because like here they do escort, and that before used to be like, you know, quote unquote escort, like that didn't know. But now it's like such a bad name that even I'm like, why are they even
Now
doing
it's
that
like,
still? You
you
know, like just call it
It's
something else. Yeah.
Right. But in Japan, I think they just turn it up several notches, and there's just a lot of terms like that.
Yeah.
And I've just been like fascinated by this, you know,
Right.
especially when my coworkers like health club equals, you know, place where you get oral sex. And then there was others,
Third
like
base.
hostess club. I still don't even know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
I've heard, you know, it's a front for a prostitution ring,
Yeah.
you know, or it's just a place where guys go to flirt with pretty young girls. Okay. There's other ones. There's one other one I've heard is a pink salon.
Okay.
Okay. A pink salon. What would this be?
I would say that is where you get a haircut, but you could also get third base too.
I feel
Dude, you are not that far off.
Yeah, see, told you.
You are not that far off.
Yeah.
Now in Japan, porn is considered pink. They call it the pink, like pink industry. You know, I guess it's like red light, you know, type of thing.
Okay,
They call it
alright,
pink.
right.
Okay. And we won't get into that color pink. So there's
Why? It's,
Anyway.
it's what's inside the pee hole. That's what they call it. It's inside the pee hole.
okay. A pink salon. A pink salon is where you go, and it's actually kind of just like a bar. Okay, you kind of sitting out, maybe in front of everyone. There might be booths or something like that, like little kind of booths set up that are semi-private, whatever. It's basically a blowjob bar. You get a drink. You're drinking your beer, and you're like, "Hey, Joe. So how was the meeting today?"
Well, there you go. Perfectly accurate. Right. Hi.
So it's kind of like-
the meeting was good. The meeting was fine.
It's. I guess I want to say it like the best way to explain it is like a happy ending bar. You know,
right.
a blowjob bar. Okay, you just kind of get your pipes clean as you enjoy some libations.
God.
Okay, and then there's
It's a whole
snack.
different world.
There's snack, which I explained, and I've always been fascinated by this because I used to have to go to the Shibuya district a lot, which has a lot of these kind of establishments. There's various like red light districts in Tokyo. Shibuya being one of them, Ikebukuro being another one.
Shinobi.
And I've always been like fascinated by this because you could kind of tell this is the shady district.
Yeah.
There's lots of neon, but it'll say pink salon.
Mm-hmm.
It'll say It'll say health.
Beef bowl.
It'll say
I'm
yeah,
hungry.
yeah, exactly. What is that? Yoshinoya.
Yoshinoya beef bowl.
Oh god.
Oh,
You know what
you
that
walk
means.
in and it's like the record that goes off the needle. And you have like a basketball in your hand. I'm like, oh, this isn't a health club.
No, it's not. At
Wasn't I
all.
expecting?
That'd be awesome.
Wow. Okay.
I would love that there was a place in Japan, one of those areas where it says Hollywood Yoshinoya bathroom. Yeah, it's like because it's pretty obvious if you know what I mean.
No, no. Sorry, Carlos. Back to what you were saying is that we once went. My student, like I said, he took me to a hostess club, and we once went, and he took. We had a few drinks, and then after speaking of drinks, after hanging out at that place, he took me into another one.
Right.
Okay, and we were going in, and the person at the front said,
No.
he's not welcome here.
What?
What?
Racist.
He can't come in."
Are you serious?
So we had to just do a U-turn, and it kind of reminded me of like this
Like
the
Alabama?
bar in Star Wars. You know, bum, 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 bum,
Like you're
bum,
The
bum,
Mos
bum,
Eisley
bum.
spaceport.
yeah.
You know, like-
you're an android. And you can't get in.
Yeah. It's like
Wow.
he does not like you.
Wow.
He does not like you either.
I don't like you either.
Wow. So,
be careful.
but is it because I always have a feeling when those districts, it's got to be Yakuza, or how do you pronounce it?
Yakuza.
Yakuza. There you go.
Yep.
That's what. Aren't they the front runner of the underbelly?
Yeah, exactly. That is a weird thing I've always heard is that, like I said, I've been fascinated by this, and I've always asked people. I try to bring it up somewhat tactfully.
Right.
Is like, what is the deal with these places? Like, how do you get away with this? And they say, well, Yakuza's all over that. The Yakuza. The Mafia.
What does that mean?
The Mafia. Okay. And I'm always like, you know, I always had this image of the Yakuza. I knew who they were. You know, they got all the tattoos.
Right. And
you know, they cut the pinky when they do
right.
something bad.
I saw a video of that.
You know, there's all those
Yeah.
images, and
Yeah.
then they got like the tucked in white shirts. You know, a lot of that comes from like Kill Bill. You know, the Kill Bill series. You know, with all the stereotypical Yakuza dudes.
Right.
And I was once at an onsen, a hot spring, and the Yakuza are banned from there. It says no tattoos.
Really?
And I was once at a hot spring in Tottori, ironically, oddly enough, and I saw it had to be a Yakuza dude. He had the full on.
The whole thing, like the fish or all those
the
things.
fish,
Yeah.
the cherry blossoms,
Right,
the
the whole
traditional deal. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, excuse me, sir, you're not allowed to be in here with those tattoos.
Wait,
Who said that?
No, I wasn't about to do that. I was thinking, wouldn't it be funny if I did that?
Yes.
And I'd probably be killed.
Funny to you.
Yeah, funny to me.
Right.
But it was kind of funny. I was like, they put a sign in the front. But really, what are they going to do? Are they going to ask the guy to leave?
Yeah.
So
They could.
I've heard this time and time again. Porn, red light, industry, adult industry, human trafficking, drugs, you name it, all the illegal stuff. Oh yeah, the Yakuza's all over that shit.
Really?
But I'm always like, where? Like,
But don't they
Really?
But aren't they the one thing that you told me that they run ads in the paper, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
and yeah, I was looking into this, and a lot of people have told me that they are actually out in the open pretty much. They have an actual corporate headquarters.
Of course they do. It's Japan.
I'm sure I don't know this for sure, but they probably have like a membership card.
Is that lawyer?
Have you heard of a little company called Yamaha?
yeah,
like
Yakuza.
Yeah.
The platinum, the platinum card. And it's funny, I've heard that so many times. Like, this is kind of a stretch, but they said like Jackie Chan, who's Chinese, Hong Kong,
Let's get it right.
specifically. They said, oh yeah, he's Yakuza. I mean, not
Wait.
Yakuza, but he's Chinese mafia. I'm like, how do you know
Jackie
that?
Chan?
I don't
And in-
know about that.
It's a bad example, but in Japan, I've always heard that's like, yeah, oh, that's Yakuza. I'm like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
He's like, well, it's in the paper. He's on their membership list. He wears like the I love Yakuza T-shirt.
Isn't Charlie
there's-
Sheen? Isn't Charlie Sheen Yakuza?
Yeah, I think he is.
I think.
Maybe that's just the best way for your business not to get, harassed. Is just to pretend you're Yakuza.
Yeah, and I've heard that like I've always wondered. I've always like when I used to have to go to Shibuya a lot, like walking around, I'm like I'm gonna see the dudes in the tucked in white T-shirts,
Right.
Or like the other thing they supposedly wear is like the like the sports.
Yeah, by the way,
outfits.
you're describing hipsters,
I know.
basically. The
Yeah.
Yakuza, it's
Yeah.
like tattoos, white T-shirts, skinny jeans.
But not the hipsters you want to fuck with, though.
But
right?
I mean that is all a stereotype. I mean the biggest clan is like called the Yamaguchi. They have an actual building.
we had a Yamaguchi in this country.
Yeah.
She almost
Yeah.
took gold.
Yeah, but she never never. You know what?
No, she
Always
didn't.
choked. Always choked.
And
Yeah,
it's just funny about the Yakuza.
sad.
I'm sure they're there. They're running all of this stuff in the background. They're pulling the strings. But I just wonder how the general population just knows. I guess they're in the news, of course. You know, my Japanese isn't nearly as good as theirs, of course. And they're just out there somewhere, and they're running all this stuff.
When I was growing up in Cleveland, which used to have Italian mafia, but still has a lot of Italians,
Brag.
used to hear this all the time. Well, if the mafia was in charge of the government, this country would run a lot better. Run a lot damn better, I'll tell you that right now. And like Dave lives in that country right now.
Well,
that's what it looks like.
That's actually what the Yakuza tries to say, is that the police actually recognize them
Right.
as like an organization.
well, that's
You know, and when I actually got hired, I had to sign in my contract with my company. It says like, you swear you haven't been in organized crime, like for the last 20 years or something
Right.
like that. Okay, and it's like, you're Yakuza or you're not, like in Japan, like you're in that world or you're not, and you can't like cross over.
right.
And it's just so weird to me. It's like, no, I'm not. I haven't been Yakuza. No, I'm reformed.
Have they approached you? Did they try to pledge you?
Well, I always wondered, about that. There's a movie with a famous director. He's actually a comedian, Beat Takeshi. He made a movie called Outrage about the Yakuza, and it just, I watched it and I was like, man, it was kind of interesting, but it was just like violent scene after violent scene, and it didn't have like a very good plot to me. But it was fascinating because it just kind of revalidated that stereotype. And unfortunately for me, it didn't really go into what I really wanted to know, which fascinates me, is like, what is up with them? Like, I mean, because I haven't seen them be that overt, out in the open.
That's why. That's part of their secret.
But maybe I should look up their address,
Yeah, go check out the headquarters.
I always made the joke, too, is like, do you, like, make a resume?
Right.
And you like you have like a job
I'm
interview.
sure they need IT guys.
Yeah, exactly. They got like a big office building.
Yeah,
There's servers in there.
Yeah, you got servers.
Yeah, I'm on the Wikipedia page, and it says right here, it says Yakuza often take part in local festivals.
Yes.
And it's like, really? That's like the Crips and the Bloods, like having a little.
I've never
like,
seen them. They made a big deal after the earthquake, the giant earthquake of 2011. March 11th. They sent supplies. They sent trucks. I mean, they have like a helicopter.
Really?
They did dispatch.
Was it
to help,
like-
rescue people?
Really?
Can you imagine if the Crips sent a
Because
helicopter?
the Yakuza,
Wow.
of course.
They're like a Red Cross.
Well, the Yakuza want to be recognized as just kind of like a local charitable organization
Right, in the eyes of the people.
that just makes the government look bad.
Right.
And that's the way that's the way they like to present themselves.
Yeah.
Okay? But of course, the government likes to present them as
Criminals.
criminals. Exactly. And so I don't know, like, which is true. Maybe it's a little mixture of both. Life is never that black and white. It's probably a mixture of both, And it's interesting is that some of the clans, like the Yamaguchi clan, the biggest one, they say they have a rule against drug trafficking. So when the cops catch a drug trafficker, the Yamaguchi say, well, you could be assured it's not one of us.
That's so
Okay?
convenient.
And another one says, yes, we do.
Right.
So if you catch a drug trafficker, you've kind of narrowed it down.
They
Okay,
make it so easy for the police.
we got the Yamaguchis.
I would
we got
love to be a cop,
These
like-
guys. And
Yamaguchi is Japanese for don't deal drugs.
I guess it's kind of like, it's almost similar to like cop shows. Where like you ask the local drug dealer, hey, what's going on?
Right.
What's the word on the street, Billy?
Yeah.
And I think they just have ties with I think the cops have pretty close ties with them.
Are the Yakuza armed with guns?
Yeah, that's another thing. They import guns. Now, where do they get them? Where do you get guns from?
Probably from the U.S.
US.
Yeah. Hawaii.
Or Mexico.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hawaii, very convenient. Because there's lots of Japanese in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay, so they kind of blend in. They run health clubs in Hawaii, I
Talking
heard.
about gyms?
These health clubs, blowjob bars, whatever, in Hawaii. And so, supposedly they even have foreigners involved in it. I don't know. Of course, you'd never like see it because they're criminal organizations, of course. But I'm always fascinated by that. Like, I've always wondered, is the Italian mafia still around in the U.S.? You always hear about Chicago,
probably, yeah.
Chicago 1930.
They're kind of blown out.
Not much anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It fascinates me.
They're
Really,
still- they're
or do they
still-
just want to be like?
No, they're not.
There's
relevant.
still organized crime, but it's if anything, it's not as structured as it once was.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's usually outside. Like Mexico is like huge, and what they call organized. They have so many cartels running through that it's like multiple wars. And I would imagine it's like, the thing is, normally like when Escobar, like Pablo Escobar, who was like the Colombian guy, usually when he was in charge, he was like the most powerful guy. But once he died, or once they tried it, then it was like it was anybody's game. So of course you have a shitload of people, trying to get that piece of him, or that whatever the action. So of course it's like, if the Yakuza, like if they all arrested Yakuza, like anybody else is gonna just take over.
Yeah. Well, when I thought more deeply about this, I guess it's not all that odd, because you think like what you just said, like cartels. There's like such and such a cartel.
Right.
And the DEA know about that.
Yeah.
There's the Italian mafia with this family.
Or the Sicilian or whatever,
right.
yeah.
This connection. These guys, these are the bosses running it.
Right.
There's even like, the Taliban, the Al-Qaeda. And it always fascinates me, like the Al-Qaeda official website. Like... Mm-hmm. Like
Al-Qaeda.org.
Oh, damn, like Al-Qaeda.org. Like here's our official post. No, that terrorist attack was not us. That was not us. And
like,
the Yakuza,
we do
I'm sure,
shitty things, but that wasn't us.
Yeah.
Check our Twitter account. We are not taking credit for that.
That's just weird to me. It's like you're a criminal organization. You're that organized. You have a president. You have a president and CEO, Mr. Al Qaeda.
Well, when the Boston bomb thing, everybody, like literally every other known terrorist group was like saying, like, no, we didn't do that.
Wasn't us. That was homegrown, sort of.
What it is like, it's like saying it was. If they say it's to us, it's like then of course they're going to be like, all right, we're going to get attacked now. Like we're all going to.
Well, sometimes they'll claim credit so they can have the publicity,
right?
Or whatever.
Yeah. I was just wondered
they didn't claim credit because of the drones. I think now it doesn't really like make good sense to like say like, oh yeah, we did it, because then they can just be blown away.
But when they do it, they're like, yeah, that was us.
By the way, Mike hasn't blinked for the last minute.
I know.
You want to talk about this?
Creepy.
Mike, calm down.
What do you mean I haven't blinked?
You were so like entranced in your drone talk.
Well, no, I'm just saying, but this is not the time that like
you went all InfoWars on us over.
Well, no, but this is not the time that terrorists really want to say like, oh yeah, we did it.
I don't know. I think it's always kind of sucked to be a terrorist who claimed something, because eventually they find you.
Yeah,
eventually
why would you?
But now it's easier.
I mean, why would Al Qaeda have an official website that says like, today we attacked such and such?
They're tired of all the damn lies being spread about them on the internet.
Like, you'd think criminals would be a little bit more covert, as opposed to overt.
Well,
they used to be.
I will say, Dave, in their defense, WordPress is so easy to use now.
Oh my
and
God.
the plugins make it so simple that anybody can put up a website.
That's what I was thinking. Like, does the Yakuza need like a
They do.
They need
IT guys.
like a webmaster?
Yeah,
got a webmaster.
I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. Don't. I'm not going to cut my finger off. I don't want to cut off my finger.
I'm sorry, guys. Bluehost servers are acting up right
now. Sorry, the website's down. I got to get a new web host.
But as far as the Yakuza, though, they only go after their own, right? I mean, like, they don't really kill, like, innocent people, do they?
Well, I don't know. That's what always fascinated me. Is there, like, some kind of United Nations of criminal organizations?
There's no organized crime that doesn't kill innocent people. They all kill innocent people.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're
Yakuza,
right. But you're right, Mike. The kind of... The image of the Yakuza is that they go after their own. And really, the only way you're going to make yourself a target for the Yakuza is if you fuck with them.
Right.
Okay? They're not going to, like, mess with this. Like I said, there's a clear dividing line between normal citizen and Yakuza in Japan.
Well, same in Mexico too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think so. It's like off limits. You're not supposed to do. Does it happen? I'm sure it does.
Same here. Like I'm pretty sure here. Like it's pretty. Like unless like you were like an Italian guy like in the 60s or 70s, it's like you would more kill one another like in that group. You wouldn't want to kill anybody outside or something, because that's going to draw more attention to you. Like the cops are going to be like, hey, kill each other more than each other, than like another civilian or something.
Right,
then
keep it contained.
Yeah,
keep it contained.
Right.
And they have the same kind of thing, like family warfare.
Right.
Like this family versus this family.
Of course, it's the same as like a Game of Thrones.
The Montagues. I was going to say like the Montagues and the Capulets.
Oh, that's more real. That's true. That's more fact. The Shakespeare. Okay, I get it.
But I don't know. It just fascinates me. Like, where are these people? And like, I guess I know what they're doing, but
you're a ginger from America. They're never gonna fucking let you in on the secrets.
Yeah,
man.
but Dave, you perform in Japan. What if the Yakuza asked you to perform at one of their secret parties?
Well, that's what someone told me. Is that someone told me one thing that is.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually,
money,
it's interesting is that anyone with ties to the Yakuza are supposed to be banned because you'll be exposed on the media. There's a big thing about that where they were doing gambling and sumo. and there's like ties to the Yakuza, and Yakuza were getting like premium tickets to sumo matches, and it kind of tied the Yakuza to sumo, so it caused this big scandal. Okay, but then I don't even know whatever happened with that. You know, like some time passes, and then sumo just kind of heals and moves on.
Yeah.
I mean, did they clean that up? Is that still going on?
It happens
Sure
with with America because there was an NBA referee who was accused of fixing games.
Oh yeah,
Right.
And it was clearly done by elements of organized crime because that's
Right.
who has the resources to do that. And the next year, the NBA just went on as usual, and that guy wasn't a referee, and nobody. It's like, oh, well, that'll never happen again.
It's just
right.
I want to say that Yakuza is just a general term in Japan for organized crime, for mafia.
Right.
And that's pretty much what we have in the U.S. now.
Right.
I mean, unless you're like a crime fighter, you know who the families are or whatever.
Right.
But really, I don't know what separates you from Yakuza and non-Yakuza criminal. I mean, there's a lot of huge criminal rings going on in Japan where they call old people and they rip them off.
Oh.
They'll call really old people and they'll say, Dad.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, what? A son? You know, he's kind of out of it.
Yeah.
He'd be like, oh, I'm in trouble. You gotta wire me money.
Wow.
Or he'll have, sir, I'm a coworker of your son, and he's in a lot of trouble. You got to send money right now.
Oh, jeez.
You
But
know,
they
and
do that here. I mean, they
Right.
do that in India, like everywhere.
Is that organized crime? Is it mafia? Is it Yakuza?
It is
scam.
organized. It is
Scam.
no, but it is
Well-
organized crime because it is they're taking. It's not that they're not like necessarily killing people because we always like associate killings with the organized crime. It's like no, they're ripping people off. They're still doing some type of crime. Anything like telemarketers or anything shady that has to be organized crime because it's there, and it's done properly. Like it's not like some fucking one-time shit. It's
Right.
like no, that is a fucking
but
mafia type.
I feel like that kind of job though is done by like the interns,
Right.
of organized crime. Like,
Right.
guys, your first week, let's call some old people.
Right.
The low guys.
Let's see if you can fleece some old folks. 'Cause,
right.
that's some low level stuff. Imagine if you're like a 60-year-old maid guy, you're not making that phone call.
No. And
yeah.
the thing is, what's always weird here that like I understand those Colombian guys like in the 80s because or 70s or whatever, like they made a shitload of money. Like they were billionaires by the time they were done. Some of those guys. I don't understand like the thing. It's more of a power trip, I think, here with some of the like the mobsters and in certain ways because like when you look at them, like when they used to arrest like all the main guys. I mean, some lived in mansions and some didn't live in mansions. And I go, what are those guys doing?
Dave
Like-
might not know about this, but there was this famous mobster out of Boston named Sonny Bulger.
Yeah,
And
Whitey
they-
Bulger,
and the
yeah.
or Whitey Bulger. I think.
Whitey Bulger.
And they couldn't find him for like 15 or 20
Yeah.
years. He was living like in Santa Monica, like on 4th Street or whatever.
Yeah, I did
Like-
hear this story.
Oh, like just in an apartment, like any other 65-year-old retiree,
Right.
Just like
Very
you know,
unassumingly.
and it's so funny because it's like the obvious thing. It's like, all right, if I was that guy and I was gonna hide out, where would you go? Would you go to like Idaho in the hills, or would you go to like Arizona in the desert? No, you go to Santa Monica. It's one of the nicest cities in the world. Like that's where you would go. It's so obvious, but they probably turned over every rock in Brooklyn and the Bronx, and all the unobvious.
Yeah, it was
places.
Santa Monica, but it was still unassuming. It was like in a little apartment, like just.
Yeah, but that's every apartment in Santa Monica. They're all 10-unit apartment buildings. So but what's crazy about it is it's the obvious choice for a guy who lived like a king. He'd want to keep living like a king.
Welcome to Japanatron. 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 Japanatron.
You have received this transmission from the Comedy Podcast Network. For more shows, visit comedypodcastnetwork.com.